Hey guys, so we are here at IEM Oakland, and of course we are Kinguin. Today we are joined by the fabulous Pansy, and me and Pansy have actually known each other for a few years, so for those who don't know you, give a little introduction.
My name's Lauren Pansy Scott. I'm a commentator for CSGO predominantly. I work at ESL, and as said, we're here at IEM Oakland, and you've known me for many other days from more shameful things like an I-Series or an Epic LAN.
Don't know what you're on about on that one. So, would like to ask, out of all the games you've casted, which game do you miss the most from the past?
Man, this comes down to probably either Enemy Territory or Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod. Now, Enemy Territory was like my first love. It's like a high school crush. It's nothing serious there. But then moved on to Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod, and it was a whirlwind romance. We went away a couple of times to maybe Denmark or wherever it was, Antwerp. So yeah, I'd say COD 4 Pro Mod. It being serious, I miss that game. It was good fun, great scene. And the players made it, you know what I mean? Like going out drinking after events, like the crazy stuff you got up to, being, just doing something that you dreamed of at that age. So COD 4 Pro Mod probably.
I think it's one of those games where we also had like a lot of actual UK pro players in the top of the scene, so we had that typical UK scene mentality. So it has to be asked, COD 4 Pro Mod, best eSports title that should still be today or not?
I miss it so much, but I think I have like rose-tinted glasses a little bit when it comes to it. Looking back on it, it was pretty flawed. There was a lot of problems with it, but I wish it was still around. Like, I wouldn't say it'd be bigger than CSGO. I'm not stupid, but I think it could have had a place there. I think it was just a little bit too early, almost, in what it was doing. Right? There was no Twitch TV back then. Most people couldn't stream. Their internet was no one's internet was good enough really back then, unless you were paying like crazy prices. And esports just wasn't up to par, really. It was like, winning an I-Series final was like the highlight, and you might get like maybe £50 at the end of it once, Wizzo buys you a pint at the boat race. Like that was the sort of prize money you had. So I'd love to see it on the scale esports has today. Like I can only imagine what it'd be like having a COD 4 stage back to back with a League of Legends stage. You know what I mean? Like that to me would be mind blowing, but it's not for these days.
Yeah, you do kind of have to miss the BYOC lands and the thousands of people sat there in a room, and now obviously we have the arena events. So, out of every event you've casted, what's the most memorable and best moment for you?
That's actually quite tough to put a finger on, because there's been different scales of moments. So for me, probably casting Phantasmagoria's game at COD 4's events, right? At a multiplayer final, where it was like Enrio, Jermaine, people like that were playing. Chuby wasn't on the team at the time. He was in Western Wars, I think, at the time, but they didn't come to the event. So I just remember that moment because I know it was one of the last COD 4 events. We were very aware that COD 4 wasn't going to be around anymore. And I just remember the feeling of like looking out in the audience, seeing all like, my teammates, the crowd, and everything just kind of like all came together. It was a really nice moment of that. I'd say that's one of my favorites, just like historically. But beyond that, I'd say the first moment I walked out on the stage at the Lanxess Arena in Cologne. I grew up around esports when it was in convention centers, where it was BYOCs. And it was an incredibly humbling moment to walk out and just see like literally a stadium filled with esports fans, CSGO fans. It was probably a moment that I'll never forget. So like, being able to talk to the crowd and feel like literally the floor shook when they got excited. It was one of those feelings a lifetime experience. So probably ESL 1 Cologne was definitely up there.
Yeah, I witnessed the ground shaking thing at New York myself, and as you said, you've been like a player, you've gone to the casting, and you've gone through every stage of esports basically, from the small to the big, and it's amazing to be where we are now. Who do you feel is the best team in the world right now, and why?
That's almost an impossible question, isn't it? Because 5 different teams have won events now, like almost back to back. I think it's going to become a matter of who gets consistently good. I think at the moment it's still too in flux. I think that you have the big power 3, which is your Na'Vi, SK, Virtus Pro, right there. I'd say you're power heavy. But then again, Na'Vi went out in groups at this event. So it's like yes and no. So it's kind of hard to put that into context. Virtus Pro didn't come to the event again, so it wasn't too surprising. And SK hadn't had the flawless run. They still looked a little shaky, to be fair, for SK, right? So for me, I'm not sure. It's whoever gets consistent will probably go on a bit of that tear, right? Where it was like Fnatic's era or SK's era. If they get the consistency there, any one of these teams could do it. Whether it be finally FaZe has everything in the right place. For example, with Karrigan now joining, they finally get what they need. Or Astralis has this fresh breath of life apparently. They come back in and actually finally get their form. So it's possible. It's just it takes, as said, consistency to apply the brilliance that they can seem to only find in certain instances.
No, and I agree. I mean, it's also a good thing because now we get to see so much more entertaining games, and it's so hard to actually predict who's going to finish where in events. For new people coming into the space, like someone that wants to become an upcoming caster, someone who wants to get into this, what advice would you give them?
Don't do it because I need money.
That's a brilliant one.
But really, I would say be relentless. Be ready to take some knockbacks. Be ready that you won't get everything you want. You don't go straight to the stadiums. It's hours of work, and be passionate. Be relentless of getting better. Have the same mentality that a player has. Watch your own work back. Critique your own work. Be absolutely mental about getting good at it. It's as simple as that. No one in their right mind would want to do this. So if you're crazy enough that you want to, don't stop until you make it.
The final question for us: out of all the ESL events you've attended, what's been your favorite event that you've been to?
Oh man. That's actually really tough. So obviously ESL 1 Cologne, probably up there. I'd probably say that just purely because of it being like that moment, right? Yeah. But also Katowice, just purely because it felt it was the first big event that I ever got to really do. It's the first time that we were ever on the same sort of level as League of Legends. And I always looked at League of Legends as being like, they're the big guys, right? This is when CS was still up and coming. So like the moment that we got on the same stage with them, I was just like, this is really cool. I know that sounds like weird that I even considered it, but in my mind I was like, that set a really high bar. And it wasn't just League fans watching, for example. It was everyone. Like the thing in Katowice, everyone's an eSports fan, right? And I remember Virtus Pro walking out on that stage, watching them win out there. It was just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. I'll never be topped. So that to me, I think is definitely up there as well.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do the interview. Do you have any special shout-outs before we go?
Shout out to Anna, the PR lady who's walking out the door. She hasn't thrown anything at me today, so keep doing your thing, Anna. Love you. Bye-bye.
So we are Kinguin. This is IEM Oakland. Thank you so much, Lauren, for taking the time to do the interview. Keep an eye out because we will be doing so much more high-quality interviews. Thank you very much.